The FBI conducted a raid on the home of former Trump administration national security advisor John Bolton. Agents were seen taking boxes out of his Maryland home this morning. The Bureau is investigating his handling of classified documents. Bolton served as President Trump's third national security advisor for 17 months. He then became a critic of the president. President Trump removed Bolton's security clearance on his first day back in office. Direct talks between Russia and Ukraine and between both leaders there appear less likely to happen as the Kremlin began downplaying the idea.
President Trump's been pushing for a meeting between Russia's President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Putin reportedly told President Trump he was open to the idea. But then top Russian officials started saying unspecified steps would need to be taken for any sort of meeting to happen. Vague response is a method Moscow has used in the past to avoid negotiations. President Trump and several cabinet members handed out dinner to police and National Guard troops who are helping with the administration's crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C.
He spoke to the group saying their presence is paying off. The visit comes one day after Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth visited troops. The White House says 630 arrests have been made and 86 illegal firearms were seized in the district since the federal takeover began. D.C.'s mayor says crime was falling already, while President Trump indicated D.C. could be just the start. Fox News anchor Shannon Bream with Fox News Sunday joins me now. We're going to get to the president's D.C. comments in a bit. Good morning to you.
Good to see you, Brandon.
All right, so first I want to ask you about Russia and Ukraine. Russia now seems to be downplaying any future meeting with Ukraine. That meeting may now not include President Trump.
Well, yeah, I mean, the president has said, and you saw the European leaders with President Zelensky at the White House this week, that the next step in this would be a Putin-Zelensky meeting. And President Trump has said they're getting along a little better. I think this is going to happen. And then you're right. We have these Russian officials like Sergei Lavrov saying, well, there are a few more steps. There's some lower level meetings and other things that will need to happen first. Meantime, Russia is still militarily attacking inside Ukraine. So is this just another ploy to buy time from Putin? And will the Senate now get involved and drop that sanctions package they've got sitting there waiting for the president's go-ahead? It's got more than 80 sponsors to it. And it goes after not only Russia, but its customers like India and Brazil and China. Is it time for that hammer to drop?
Yeah, I want to get back to the D.C. patrols. We didn't run the soundbite there, but the president said maybe they'll do this in other places. Well, that raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, and of course, you know, D.C. is different than any other city. It's a federal district, so the Congress and the president, they do have some authority within limits, but it's a little bit different what they can do in D.C. So even if this did spread to, say, Dallas or L.A. or New York or somewhere else, the president would have less tools, fewer tools in his kit to actually carry this out in other cities. But I think he's very much very fully invested in what's happening in D.C. and showing where things are actually improving. And you've had even the police chief there in D.C. say, listen, more law enforcement on the streets would help our officers. So we'll see. There are protests and people who don't like it, the optics of it or the reality of kind of, you know, this federal takeover, the view of that. But the president's pointing to some places where people are happy and they feel safer.
All right, looking forward to Sunday. Who do you have on tap?
So Senator James Lankford is one of our guests, and we're going to ask him about that Senate package that, involves sanctions on Russia and those other countries, where he thinks it goes from there. The redistricting fights. I mean, we've got all kinds of things bubbling. This raid by the FBI on former Ambassador John Bolton's home. A lot to cover on Sunday.
Sounds good. Shannon, see you then.
See you then. Thanks.
All right, Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream airs right here on Fox 4 Sunday morning at 8 a.m.
Hey, good morning, guys. Eddie Garcia is now Fort Worth's 28th police chief, and he will be introduced to the public this morning as Fort Worth's newest police chief. Now, Garcia was the chief of the Dallas Police Department from February 2021 until October of 2024. City leaders credited him with reducing crime and improving morale in the department. Garcia retired from his role in Dallas to accept a job as an assistant city manager in Austin. Months later, he applied for this new role and was named one of 3 finalists. City and county leaders say they're looking forward to working with him.
Chief Garcia's reputation is incredible, not just here in North Texas, but across the country. He is widely known as one of the best police chiefs in the nation at this time. And I think, he's got a track record of doing exactly what he says he's going to do.
Garcia did receive criticism from Fort Worth City Councilman Chris Nettles for turning in his application late, but he had positive remarks Thursday afternoon. Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker says Garcia is the right leader to guide the department and city forward. Garcia has more than 30 years of experience, law enforcement experience, and he will be once again introduced here at the Fort Worth City Hall, all happening at 11 a.m. to introduce him as Fort Worth's newest police chief. For Good Day, I'm TCM Muzenga.
The North Texas mother accused of killing her 6-year-old son and escaping to India for 2 years is now in the Tarrant County jail.
Cindy Rodriguez-Singh is charged with capital murder, other charges as well. Fox 4's Dion Anglin joining us now live with more. Dion.
Hi there. We understand that she is booked in the Tarrant County Jail under the name Cindy Rodriguez. And just in the past 5 minutes, the chief of police for Everman just walked by us here on the sidewalk. We had a very brief moment to ask him if he had a chance to talk with her yet, if his investigators have had a chance to talk with her. The chief told us no, he is not. They have not. And they were here and spent most of the day in the district attorney's office. Captured capital murder suspect Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, now back in Tarrant County.
Priority 2 is make a determination of whether or not you can figure out where the child's body is at.
Attorney Russell Wilson is not involved in the case. However, he offers a glimpse at what we could see following the extradition as well as the state's prosecution. The 40-year-old Everman mother is accused of killing her 6-year-old son, Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, whose body has never been found. The federal charge? In 2023, Rodriguez-Singh fled the country with her husband and 6 other children. Unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. But that charge now will most definitely take a back seat.
The most serious charge would be the state capital murder case.
On Wednesday, the FBI announced their top 10 fugitive was in custody at an undisclosed location in the U.S. after being captured in India.
Prosecutors may be evaluating the case, since it is a capital murder, to determine whether or not they would want to seek the death penalty. So you either have life in prison automatically as a punishment for a capital murder conviction, or in some cases in Texas, you can be face the death penalty. So I think those analysis will all be running kind of at the same time.
Wilson says it's possible Rodriguez-Singh has already been appointed an attorney, and the process of getting her back to Tarrant County was swift.
I think initially there's going to be a much closer evaluation of the facts and circumstances surrounding the child's death. So remember, for capital murder, you have to show very specific things, not just a death, but you have to show a mental state that accompanies that intends to cause or create the death. And so depending on what that evidence is, I think will kind of depend on the direction of the case.
6-year-old Noel had a history of health and developmental issues and was last seen in October 2022. The whereabouts of Rodriguez-Singh's husband are unclear, as are questions about whether he too will face charges.
It's fair to think that these folks likely stayed together and were perhaps found together in India, given the ages of the other children. And that may be a question as well, the health of the other children in the family and things like that. It would depend on what charge was brought against him, if any, and the circumstances, but it would appear that he was not taken into custody. But, that's just based off the information we have.
Now, the next step in the process would be Cindy Rodriguez-Singh making a first appearance before a judge here. And just once again, Chief Al Brooks, Everman Police Chief Al Brooks, just walked past us here. He told us very briefly they have not had a chance to talk with Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, that they have been here spending most of the day in the district attorney's office. That's the very latest live. Back to you all.
All right, Fort Worth. Dion Anglin. Thank you, Dion.
Yes, good morning, Lauren. The floods in central Texas killed more than 130 people, including young girls and counselors at Camp Mystic. This week, parents dealing with unimaginable loss spoke to lawmakers pleading for change so no other parent has to worry while their child is away at camp. The Texas Senate passed Senate Bill 1, which bans camps from operating if campers are housed in certain flood-prone areas. The House also passed its own House Bill 1, a policy requiring overnight kids camps to submit emergency plans to the state. Now, the plans would include teaching campers about when to shelter and evacuate. This morning, a House committee will take up a bill passed by the Senate requiring outdoor warning sirens in some flood-prone areas. Both chambers passed a bill funding resources for the emergency technology, so that's awaiting the governor's signature.
These are each a part of our solemn duty to the families who've lost so much and to all Texans who could face that same tragedy tomorrow.
This bill is for Heavens 27. In closing, I want to read their names aloud. Some of their families are in the gallery. I ask that all members and those in the gallery join me in a brief moment of silence while I read the names of the girls taken too soon.
One by one, the names of the 27 girls killed at Camp Mystic were read as some of their parents were inside the House chamber. Camp Mystic released a statement supporting the legislation, specifically the creation of warning systems that could have saved lives on July 4th. The statement went on to thank first responders, volunteers, and search and rescue teams for their continued efforts. There are some other flood response policies moving through the legislature, including better communication tools for first responders and safeguards against scammers during natural disasters. Reporting, I'm Peyton May for Good Day.